Today I'm going to be walking you through the Kansas Corn Stem Breakout Box, Show How You Grow. My name is Jessica Sadler and I'm a 6th grade science teacher and lead teacher for Kansas Corn Stem. Today we're going to be walking through the Breakout Box, Show How You Grow. Let's get started. When you're doing a breakout box, it's a great idea to give your students a couple hint cards. I like to give them to students who might need a little more assistance staying engaged for the entirety of the breakout box. The way that they would work, you give them to the students that you'd like to have them. Whenever they would like a clue, I make them come to a decision as a group. They give me the clue, and then I give them something that would help them. This is a really, really great way to give everybody a role and help people keep involved. The next thing that you're going to want to do is start the breakout box by using the story provided in the lesson. Once the story is over, that is a great time to start the timer. Usually 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the length of your class period. The story for Show How You Grow sounds like this. You're sitting in class listening to your teacher speak about growing degree days during your agriculture unit. As you look around, you see that most of your classmates seem to be following right along while you're feeling a little lost. How is it possible that corn needs so many days to develop? You're certain that you do not understand something correctly, so you stay after class to talk with your teacher. By the end of your conversation, you have a much stronger understanding of growing degree days. You're about to leave when your teacher mentions you may complete the following breakout for extra credit on the next test. Good luck. And at this point, I would start the timer. The first clue that we're going to be talking about is the shape, letter, 5-digit, numerical, it could be letters, it could be directional locks, clue. You'll notice on the locks that look like these, especially those 5 digits or shapes or arrows style lock, they do have a little silver line on them already. I like to go over it with a piece of colored tape or patterned tape. The students can have the right answer, but if they accidentally start on the wrong side, the lock won't open, causing them to think they have the wrong answer, so they may change it or feel frustrated. We practice starting here, so that way they always have a common reference point. For this lock, you're going to need these approximate growing degree day cards. You have a set that's in yellow with a title of GDD, or growing degree days. You also have a set that is green with the word stage here. Okay? The way that this would work is you would like for the growing degree days to be set up, and they also have a stage that they match. I would suggest having the students put the stages out in an order first. It makes it a little easier to get the days set up as well, but you can do that however you'd like. It's up to you in your classroom. When these are in the correct order and they are matched with the correct amount of days, you will discover that that unlocks the lock. So here I have the first setup being star, then we go to circle, square, triangle, and diamond. With this style lock, sometimes it's easiest if the students give it a little push in and then a tug out. They can occasionally get stuck, and that usually fixes it, no problems. Next, we're going to talk about the color lock. For the color lock, you're going to have these cards out that build how you solve a growing degree day equation. And it's going to look something like this. Okay. With these cards, you can either have them lumped together in a group, or you're more than welcome to spread them out around the room. Occasionally, I'll take a few just so they get enough knowledge to realize they're figuring out some sort of problem, and then maybe hide the other 2. I did note on this one, it is magenta when printed on different colored paper. Right now it looks a little bit close to the same red color, but that last one should be magenta. You wouldn't want to add this on the card unless you're having an issue with that color coming through clearly. For this, once they have them in the correct order after they found all the pieces, it would come out on the color-coded lock as blue, orange, red, green, and that last magenta or that pinkish color on the lock. This lock will again be on the main box. Moving on, we're going to be using the Sedgwick County, Kansas paper. You can leave this laying out anywhere in your classroom. Sometimes I leave them turned over. Occasionally I might tape them on a cabinet if I need to hide it in a place that might be a little more challenging for my students to find. Okay. With this, students have this prompt right here. When will this corn be ready to harvest? They're going to be looking at this graphic and hopefully realize that the growing degree start date was April 20th. As they continue to use this graphic, they're also going to notice that this corn has a corn maturity date of 118 days. They're going to have to problem solve a little bit to realize that if this is the start date, 118 days later would roughly place them on August 16th. In numerical form, we would have 0816, which happens to be the combination to this 4-digit lock. Something you might want to prompt your students, especially if this is the first time they've done a breakout box, is that the numbers need to go into these circular holes right here. It's natural for students to want to put them on the sides. Again, that would cause them to get the wrong answer, so they may change their answer or become frustrated. So prompting them to enter the codes here is really important. This lock, again, will be on the main breakout box. For the 3-digit lock, you're going to find that you have 3 different growing degree day problems. Okay. These, again, can be cut apart and hidden amongst the room. You can leave them in a pile. That choice is, again, very much up to you as the teacher. What will need to happen is the students will actually complete the problem. You can see that they've been given one of the digits as part of their answer in all 3 problems. You can also tell that the strips have been numbered 1, 2, and 3. When they go to put in the combination to take this lock off, they will need to do the number 1 answer first, number 2 answer second, number 3 answer third, which will end up giving them a code of 566. This style lock is the same as the 4-digit lock we just talked about. It's natural to try to do the sides. You want to make sure you prompt them to put the answer in these circles on the top side. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the key lock. For the key lock, you're going to want to have this question posed. You could write it on the board if you wanted to. You can use this card and tape it up somewhere. That's up to you and what works best for your space. The question is, about how many growing degree days does it take for corn emergence? This card also has a QR code that pairs with it. This time it is labeled key lock. If you don't prefer that, you could easily cut it off. And again, that would provide an additional challenge to your students. When students pull this up, they will be watching a video that will give them the answer to this question. The way that they find the key would be something like this. In your room, you might write the number 100. You might build it out of materials. Sometimes I might make a stack of 100 items, like something small, pennies, the fake money coins, things like that. You could, again, have it casually written somewhere. And ideally, when they get that answer of 100 from the video, they're going to find that space somewhere in your room, and this key would be hidden near where you have made that 100 idea or model at. Something you can do with this, because it can be tricky depending on your students, and maybe it varies by hour, you can also give them the option of using this, you're almost done, take this to your teacher for the key to your reward. If they choose to use this, that might be what I would consider kind of a second or third hint, if you'd like, depending on what they have or haven't used, where you could prompt them a little more easily on how to find this key. You could even have this sign hanging somewhere near that 100 model that you've created or written, and that might be an assisted thing that can help them too. For this breakout, the small box and the black light aren't needed. Sometimes, again, if I have hours that I like to challenge, I will put one of the locks, it doesn't matter which one, you won't infect the breakout at all. On this box, I put a random item inside just to give it some weight, and I might leave it out. So students are still solving the locks, still gaining the knowledge, then when they open it up, they realize it's a very random item that they don't actually want, and they go back to the breakout. I also occasionally like to leave the light out when there isn't a black lit option or there's no ink for them to find. Sometimes it can be a good little red herring, takes up time if they're an hour that I need to have a little bit more challenge for along those lines. And then a great way to finish any breakout box is to do a reflection or some kind of post-assessment. Every breakout box lesson has a section called Reflections and Conclusions that's towards the end of the lesson. A nice way to use those questions can be the reflection cards that come in your kit. The reflection cards cover everything from SEL questions like, what did you do to be a great partner? What could you have done better? Was your group successful? What would you change? Anything like that that really focuses on collaboration and relationships. Then you can also ask questions that are more like what's at the reflection and conclusions. Summaries of what they learned, what they should have gotten from the breakout, different things like that. There is an option for you as the facilitator to write those questions on the card. You can randomly assign them to groups, or you could always give it to everybody. That's your choice. If you unfortunately don't have a physical breakout box within your classroom, all of our breakouts are located on the kansascornstem.com website in a digital format. This has been Show How You Grow Breakout Box from Kansas Corn STEM.